Well, we are waiting for more people to join. I just want to briefly introduce myself. My name is Jess González, and I am the founder of Public Persona. What we do is bespoke communications coaching. So we help professionals and entrepreneurs to build their confidence in their communication skills so they can improve not only their career value, but also their self-worth. And, presentations, they don't have to be scary. I know people feel intimidated when they have to speak in front of a room or a board of management or even this kind of Zoom because it feels very impersonal. But don't worry, hopefully after today's presentation, you're going to feel more confident and you're going to feel that you know what you have to do. A bit of housekeeping before we start the session. Like the session shouldn't last longer than 45 minutes. There's gonna be 30 minutes presentation, and then we'll have 50 minutes Q&A towards the end. The way I see presentations, it's more of a conversation. So what I would like to say is feel free to raise your hand or to leave any comments on the chat section because I'm going to be asking you questions throughout this presentation. I just want to keep it as open as possible. And this is my first tip, actually, before we start. The way that you should be seeing presentations is as a conversation. Even though there is going to be one person doing all the talking, which in this case is myself, you should see it more of as an open dialogue. I'm going to be delivering information to you, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be playing with that information or like giving me any sort of comments that it might pop into your mind. So set this, I'm going to get started. So what are we looking at today? So first of all, we're going to be discussing what is a TED Talk. We're going to be reviewing what are the characteristics of this kind of TED Talk style. How do you prep? So how can you use this for your business presentations? What are the characteristics that make this kind of presentation so popular? And we will finish with the Q&A. So opening the floor to you. Does anyone know what is a TED Talk or what TED stands for? TED. Feel free to write it down in the chat box, or feel free to raise your hand if anyone knows what TED stands for. Me, I didn't know it before I actually prepared all of this presentation. I always thought that it was a guy called Ted that started this. So, okay. Tech, entertainment, design. Okay. Technical, educational discussion. Loads of great ideas. Technology, education, and design. Very good. We have a winner. Yes, tech stands for technology, education, and design. Well done, you. And now, again, up to you. I want to ask you, when you think about a TED Talk presentation, what is the first word that comes to your mind? It can be anything, okay? But if you've ever watched any TED Talk before, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? Expert, very good. Polished, interesting. Stage, great. Inspiring, that's a very good one. Engaging, amazing. Short and snappy, amazing, Megan. That's very, very good. Engaging again. Charismatic, well, not everyone is very charismatic, but fortunately, most of them are. Succinct, very good. Any others? Here are more words for you, just for you to play with ideas of what is a TED Talk and what is this world all about. And as you've mentioned very well, they're short, they are concise, there is a stage. These people tend to be charismatic, they put themselves out there, they're engaging presenters. So now we're gonna be breaking down what are the characteristics. So as you can see, TED Talks are personal. So first of all, these people are talking about something that they're passionate about. And you will say, some people are not passionate about finance, and I have to present something about finance in front of these people that I'm not sure if they care about it. As long as you are passionate about what you're talking about and you make it personal and relevant to you, your audience is going to be engaging. So if you have fun with what you're saying, people will connect to you. Secondly, there is a storytelling in there. I don't know how familiar you are with storytelling. Does anyone knows anything about storytelling, or is this like something you've heard about a lot, especially lately, but you're still not so sure what is this? Joanna, you're very familiar with this. Great, that's very good. Just to keep it very concise and briefly, storytelling is just the way we present information, okay? And this is just the diagram for you to look at. This is taking mostly from the way we've been telling stories since the beginning of times. There is always like an intro, then something happens, we reach a climax, which usually during these presentations is like this moment of revelation, like when the presenting realizes like, this is the click, this is where I'm processing and learning this information. Then we go into the resolution and we close it. So this is something to bear in mind, that you are taking people somewhere when you are telling and delivering information. You're not saying things for the sake of talking. You're choosing wisely what information you are delivering to your audience. As you said before, they are concise, succinct, they are time bound. Usually TED Talks, they are no longer than 18 minutes. The shortest is around 3 minutes. So actually, I'm going to be showing you that one after this, and they feel important. They are something that it's going to change the person who's listening to this. And that is another principle of a good presentation. You need to change your audience. There has to be something that after you finish your presentation, people go out there and they make a change in the way they do things, the way they process things. So these are all little elements for you to think about. But we will put everything into context when we discuss how can you bring this into business presentations, okay? So don't worry. Now, after discussing all this, I want to show you this short presentation, and I want you to think about everything that I've just presented to you, and tell me after this if you think this man is doing that, and what are the elements that you're recognizing in his presentation style. Let me know if you can hear it.
This is really a 2-hour presentation I give to high school students, cut down to 3 minutes. And it all started one day on a plane on my way to TED, 7 years ago. And in the seat next to me was a high school student, a teenager, and she came from a really poor family. And she wanted to make something of her life. And she asked me a simple little question. She said, "What leads to success?" And I felt
I'm very sorry about this.
really badly because I couldn't give her a good answer. So I get off the plane and I come to TED. And I think, geez, I'm in the middle of a room of successful people. So why don't I ask them what helped later? And I'm going to tell you what really leads to success and makes TEDsters tick. And the first thing is passion. Freeman Thomas says, I'm driven by my passion. TEDsters do it for love. They don't do it for money. Carol Coletta says, I would pay someone to do what I do. And the interesting thing is, if you do it for love, the money comes anyway. Work. Rupert Murdoch said to me, it's all hard work. Nothing comes easily. But I have a lot of fun. Did he say fun, Rupert? Yes. TEDsters do have fun working, and they work hard. I figure they're not workaholics. They're workaholics. Good. Alex Garden says, to be successful, put your nose down in something and get damn good at it. There's no magic. It's practice, practice, practice. And it's focus. Norman Jewison said to me, I think it all has to do with focusing yourself on one thing. And push. David Gallo says, push yourself. Physically, mentally, you've got to push, push, push. You got to push through shyness and self-doubt. Goldie Hawn says, I always had self-doubts. I wasn't good enough. I wasn't smart enough. I didn't think I'd make it. Now, it's not always easy to push yourself, and that's why they invented mothers. Frank Gehry said to me, my mother pushed me. Serve. Sherwin Nuland says it was a privilege to serve as a doctor. Now, a lot of kids tell me they want to be millionaires, and the first thing I say to them is, okay, well, you can't serve yourself. You got to serve others something of value, because that's the way people really get rich. Ideas. Tedster Bill Gates says, I had an idea. Founding the first microcomputer software company. I'd say it was a pretty good idea. And there's no magic to creativity and coming up with ideas. It's just doing some very simple things. And I give lots of evidence. Persist. Joe Kraus says persistence is the #1 reason for our success. You got to persist through failure. You got to persist through crap, which of course means criticism, rejection, assholes, and pressure. So the answer to this question is simple. Pay $4,000 and come to TED. Or failing that, do the 8 things, and trust me, these are the big 8 things that lead to success. Thank you, TEDsters, for all your information.
Okay, I'm gonna leave my video off for the time being because I think I'm having some trouble with my internet today. Sorry about that, but I'll try again towards the end of this presentation. Anyways, I'm sorry, just checking the chat quickly. Of course, don't worry about that. I'm glad that you guys enjoy the talk. Of course, I'll make sure that we send you all the links to all the materials that I'm using, and so don't worry about that. So after watching this TED talk, thank you. After watching this TED talk, what are the elements that you recognized in his presentation of the things that we've been discussing? And if he's using anything I haven't mentioned so far, please just let me know. Humor, yes, thanks so much for saying that, Shireen. Humor is so important, and sometimes people forget this, but cracking jokes, if they're appropriate, it's a very good way to break the ice and to make yourself personable. Very good. Clear storytelling, humor, climax, close, exactly. The visuals, exactly. Unless you're super charismatic, I always encourage people to have some visuals because sometimes it's very difficult to be engaging consistently throughout a presentation when you're delivering loads of facts. So either you become a clown on stage, but otherwise it's going to be difficult. Short, snappy sentences, pauses, very good. The power of silence. It's very important to find peaks and valleys in presentations. When is the moment to give your audience a rest, a break, to process all the information that you're giving them? Because otherwise it's very difficult for people to remember loads of new concepts. So very good. Thank you so much. That's a great contribution for all of you. Now, I have a question for you again. Sorry, I asked loads of questions. But what I would like you to think of, what does business presentations differently compared to a TED talk? If you think of a business presentation, what is the first word that comes to your mind? And don't worry, I won't be telling your bosses after this, so feel free to pop up whichever word comes to your mind. Slides, yeah. PowerPoint, yeah. This reminds me to a TED talk that I watched the other day, which is Death by PowerPoint. But yeah, formulaic and often boring. Yes, baby. Internal audience, prior knowledge. Okay, TED Talk, share ideas. Business often has to make a case recommendation. Very good. That's a very strong point there. Data, amazing. Very good. Dull. Yes, most of them are, but again, I think it's because the presenters, they're not very happy to be doing the presentation in the first place. So that's all very valid points. Well done. You actually nailed it. So now we're going to be looking into how can we bring this TED Talk experience into our business presentations. And again, we start with discuss topics with passion. And I know, and I'm repeating myself again, but it's so, so fundamental. And doesn't matter what you talk about, if you do it with passion. I have all kinds of friends in my life, and me, I'm not very good with science, but when I have a friend of mine talking to me about black holes in the universe, because he's so much into that topic, I get really involved and I get really taking in his recount of all these stories about what's happening out there in space. So for me, even if you're going to be talking about the figures of the last semester and what do you expect to achieve on the next semester, just be engaged with what you're talking about and find a way on what you're delivering to your audience is as interesting to them as it is to you. Again, and somebody said it very well on the chat, like, business is all about where you want to be, what are the expectations, and where do you have to go. Whereas TED, it's more about trying and experiencing different things in order to understand what it has to be done and coming to that moment of realization. So try to think about that as well when you are preparing your presentation. Try to think about, like, hey, we're here on point A and we need to reach point C. Then what happens in between depends on you, on how you deliver it. So it can be like, okay, point B, open it to the floor. What are the ideas of the team? How everyone can contribute and be present in what you are delivering, which leads me to keep it to the point as well. Like, what is what you're trying to achieve? What is the goal? You're not doing a presentation because someone asked you to do a presentation. You're doing a presentation because after that you want someone to do something, or your team needs to be doing something, or you need someone else to know about a new project. So keep it to the point. Don't lose sight of what is important and what do you want to achieve by doing this presentation. Then again, think about, who are you talking to? Are you talking to the board of management of your company? Are you pitching an idea to investors? Why is it relevant to them, the information that you're giving? Think about that. This is the same using jargon or using this really elevated language that sometimes other teams, they are not going to understand. So if you work in finance and someone else works in logistics, probably is not going to understand very specific words, and the other way around. So think about who you're talking to. And last one, this has to be time bound. It cannot be a never ending presentation. So think about, be time conscious. Everyone's time is money. So try to, from within the first 2 minutes, deliver what is the main idea and when are you gonna go with your presentation. Okay. And now, what I want to show you is like how TED does these things so well and why do these presentations go viral. So why people love watching these. So that, again, will give you a better idea and show you an example of how you can improve your personal presentations. First of all, and some of you might recognize this man, his name is Sir Ken Robinson. His TED Talk is the one most viewed on the site. It's called How Schools Kill Creativity. And he's a clear example that it's not what you're saying, it's how you say it. So let me show you, because it will give you a better idea of what I'm talking about.
Little 4-year-olds with tea towels on their heads, and they put these boxes down. And the first boy said, "I bring you gold." And the second boy said, "I bring you mare." And the third boy said, "Frank sent this." What these things have in common is that kids will take a chance. If they don't know, they'll have a go. Am I right? They're not frightened of being wrong. Now, I don't mean to say that being wrong is the same thing as being creative. What we do know is, if you're not prepared to be wrong, you'll never come up with anything original. If you're not prepared to be wrong.
Okay.
And by the time they get to be adults, most kids...
a little bit of this, but again, if you guys are interested, I'll drop a message after so you can have the links for all the materials I'm using. Okay, so again to you, what is he doing of all these techniques we have been discussing in the way he's presenting? Is he doing something else we haven't discussed yet? Please just let me know. Or any thoughts like, I love this man, or I don't like the way he presents, or what is he doing well, or what you think he's not doing so well. Humor and approachability, and you see this keeps repeating in all these presenters. I think it's great. Me too. I really, really love this TED talk. The way he does it, he uses a lot of humor, but at the same time, he's delivering facts. But the best way to deliver facts is by using humor. Getting you to think about what you do exactly. He does that very well. But he's using as well very simple language, and he's using storytelling, fantastic. He's charismatic, also good at posing, fantastic. Very well-known story, but with an unexpected twist. Nice, exactly. This is what he's doing very well, because he's personable, you can relate to him, so you want to listen and spend more time understanding what he has to say, and probably you will listen more because you can relate to him. Okay, this is something as well to think about. Oops, sorry. Let's go to next. This is some aspects that I found interesting, and I found that the researchers show that it is important to move your hands. And I know that we feel very constrained these days because we're doing loads of Zoom talks. So we feel that we're more talking heads than anything else. But even though you're sitting at home and you cannot move, be alive, you know, just even if it's very difficult, imagine that you are in the room with these people. So it doesn't feel so constrained and robotic in a way. So here you can see that audiences value the number of times that people do hand gestures. Don't overdo it either, because it's gonna look more that you're doing some form of dance, but it's something to bear in mind. As well, script skill, charisma. I think it's very important for everyone to prepare before a presentation, but just don't overdo it. Let it breathe a bit. You know, it's better to do some paraphrasing. A way that I think about this, and hopefully it helps you in terms of preparing and memorizing, I always think about the underground, and I need to get, for example, from Piccadilly Circus to Waterloo. Okay, I know that if I want to get from one point to the end point, I need to pass through some stations first. So if you're clear in your mind that my presentation starts here and it needs to end this, and in between, I'm gonna be explaining to you data A, data B, and data C. By the time you end, you are just making sure that you are like passing through all these stations, okay? This is my metaphor. Hopefully it helps you, but this is my way to memorize and know what I have to say. Next one, smiley makes you look smarter, which is good news. And as you said, humor. Sometimes when we are presenting, we want to show that we are professional. Being professional doesn't mean not smiling. So remember this for the next time. And you only have 7 seconds to make an impression. Yeah, this is so fast. Like you enter a room and in 7 seconds, someone has already made an impression about you and saying when you are through a Zoom meeting. So because I wanna show you this, I'm gonna show you 2 clips of 2 different TED presenters. And I want you to think about what is your first impression about them. Sorry about this. Now.
No tech life hack. And all it requires of you is this, that you change your posture.
Let me play it again because I know we had a delay, so sorry about that.
No tech life hack. And all it requires of you is this, that you change your posture.
Okay, those were 7 seconds. I know they go by very quickly. And now let me show you this guide. Here we go. Sorry if it's a bit slow today, my internet.
So in college, I was a government major, which means I had to write a lot of papers.
Okay, and that's it. Those were the 7 seconds. I would love to hear your thoughts. What were your first impressions? How different they were, or you had good impressions from both of them. So what did they reveal of their personalities to you? Maybe I will rephrase it and make the question simpler. So what is your first impression of the two of them? Movement. Okay, good impressions from both. Cutting more formal, second less formal. Yes, exactly. Second one got my attention more. Okay, Megan, that's interesting. Why did he get more your attention? The first made me curious. The second was, where is this going? Self-deprecating, good. Serious versus fun, okay. Any others? Because he was about to tell a story. Oh, very good. Yeah, amazing. Second one, background image. Okay. Second one, more personal. Yes. About Amy Cuddy, what I find so interesting is like her talk is about how to use your body language, you know, to feel more confident. But for me, her body language, what is revealing is like she's very nervous in what she's doing and she's feeling herself a bit intimidated on stage. Very expressive body language. Yes, like him is more open with his body language. He's allowing us in his journey and his presentation. So these are things for you to think about as well when you're presenting, like even if you're sitting down because it's a Zoom conversation, but watch out your body language because it reveals much more of what you think. Same with your voice, like try not to be so monotone as well. Try to find moments to change as well the way that you're narrating the presentation. Find peaks and valleys with your voice as well, because otherwise people tend to fall asleep if I start to talk like this, like, hi, I'm gonna present you some figures today and I'm gonna tell you what is the next steps that we're gonna be following in the company. I sound like a record player, so nobody wants to hear that, so be alive. But yeah, that's been amazing. Thank you so much for your time. And this is how we're coming to the end of the presentation. I don't know, now I'm opening the floor to you. So if you have any questions or something that you feel I haven't covered, this is the time now to just let me know and please feel free to do so. Okay, I have a question about, I'm not sure if this is a question, the body language. No, I think that is a comment. I don't know if anyone has any questions to me. If you would like to know anything else. What happens if your mind goes blank? That's a very good question. So if your mind goes blank, what I always recommend to everyone is like, instead of pretending that this is not happening, which is something that it's gonna make you feel even more nervous, complete disclosure, like, okay, sorry, I just need a minute. Let me go back to my notes and I will continue. That could be something, letting your audience know what is happening, not like I went blank, but I need to check on something. And I will always say, stop, take a deep breath, and perhaps go back to the place where you were just before you went blank. Because sometimes if you repeat the thing you were saying before, that can help you find your way back. But first of all, pause and breathe, okay? Hopefully that helps. That's okay, my pleasure. Any other questions about presentations? Okay, let me see. Oops, let me see. You spoke about the power of humor. What advice do you have in using this with an international audience? That is a very good question, actually. Thank you so much, Angie. There are things that I find that they are quite universal. And if you remember on the first video I showed you, he's making a joke. I think it was Robert Murdoch who was saying like, my mother pushed me, you know, and he was making this comparison of like, and if you don't have the willpower to push yourself, everyone has a mother to push them. So if you're going to be using humor, try to think about universal humor. Everybody laughs at mom jokes, dad jokes, and things like that. That is universal. Everyone has a mother and a father, hopefully. And so try to keep like very universal humor. That is my best advice. Hopefully that helps. Let me see any other questions. What's the best way to practice this so it becomes authentic? Record yourself, do it in front of a mirror or to a friend, colleague. What do you recommend? All the ones that you've mentioned, Emily, are great. Recording yourself is something that I recommend a lot to everyone because I think it is very important for you to understand how you present. So whether you use your hands a lot, I have a tendency to use my hands a lot, for example, whether you make weird gestures with your mouth, with your face, you know, like I know that it's not comfortable seeing yourself on the screen, but the more you do it, the more comfortable you will feel. And again, yeah, it's a great idea as well to practice with your family, with your friends, but most of all, practice with them for you to see whether what you're saying makes sense, because that is like the end goal of the presentation, whether someone that is not aware of something can understand the information you are delivering. So hopefully that answers your question. How to show body language on video call? Just face, just look at the camera. So this is the camera, this is like the box, okay? So even in this such a small space, if I am like this presenting, you already see that I'm very contracted and even my voice is very contracted. So body language, just open your chest. This is like showing openness and relaxation, and as well, you know, relax your face as well, relax your face muscles. That really helps, like just a bit of these and like some massage around your face. That really helps to show yourself as more comfortable on a Zoom call. So hopefully that helps. And I don't know if I'm missing any questions. I don't know if anyone else has any other questions or anything else that you would like me to cover. But otherwise, I want to thank you all for joining me today. Hopefully you leave today with a bit more of knowledge and you've understood how you can use certain elements from TED Talks to improve your business presentations. Hopefully next time you go into a room, you will feel slightly more confident. And if you want to connect with me, you can find there my details and on my LinkedIn and my socials. I will really appreciate if after this, I'm gonna be sending you a small feedback form, you know, in order to keep doing this. It will be great if I could get some feedback from you. on this. I'm always looking for ways to improve as well my presentations. So thank you so much for today, and hopefully see you soon again on my next workshops. So thank you so much and have a lovely day.